Joe, you politely turned around and said, that's a really good idea, but we'll do it someone else when we've got a bit more time for it. But we haven't forgotten ads, and you're a valuable part of the Patreon, and we appreciate you being part of it. And if you're listening to the podcast or watching one of the videos or anything like that, and you think, oh, you know what, this stuff's all right, and I wouldn't mind supporting it and getting a little bit more from it, you can join the Patreon and you can get involved and provide questions like this. And Ads' question was, word for word, and we've kind of altered it a little bit. It's kind of the same thing, but based on the first 2 rounds of the county championship, who would you pick in your North 11 versus South 11? Take a team each if you like. Now, obviously, we've had a couple more. We've had another round of county championship since then, and I kind of forgot / ignored the point about based on the performances of what we've had so far. So I've kind of vibed it a little bit. Obviously, as the resident Northerner, you've taken the North team. And as the resident Southerner, I'm representing the South. Do you want to go first? Because I'm just going to list out the Surrey team.
Why am I not remotely surprised? You're going to list the top 6, 7, 8 Surrey batters and then 3 Essex bowlers, and pretty that's much, your team. Done. Mine's probably got a little bit more balance and diversity to it, shall we say? Do you want me to run through the 11 in its entirety? Or do you want me to do like
go on then? Start with your top 4. Start with your top 4, and we'll pick it apart from there.
Okay, so opening the batting for me are the Warwickshire duo of Alex Davis and Rob Yates. I like the left-right hand combination. Smart. I mean, they've started the season in unbelievable form, the pair of them. Okay, admittedly, might have been on flat ones at Edgbaston, but Alex Davis scored another 100 whatever down at the Utilita Bowl last week against Hampshire. They're both averaging 120 plus with strike rates above 70. They've scored 300s between the pair of them in their 5-6 innings each. And also, Rob Yates bowls a handy little bit of off spin. He's taken 11 wickets this year already. And in a game against Durham, he took 7 wickets and scored 191, and he's an opening batter. So I'm loving the value there in my opening pair. There will be no danger of any kind of silly run-outs because they just know each other so well.
Good picks. Great picks. 3 and 4?
Number three also scored runs at Edgbaston in the first game of the season this year. Kashi Valley.
Okay.
I had to get him in. I thought, against a decent Warwickshire attack, he scored hundreds in both innings. He didn't play in the last game week, but I'm taking a chance on him. Averaging 94 in his 3 innings or whatever it is that he's batted. I'm keen to have him on board as my number 3. And at number 4, obviously, I couldn't ignore Karun Nair of Northants. I had to get him in after his 202 not out and ridiculous reverse paddle random sweeps straight behind the wicket. He's obviously a very classy Indian overseas batter of the Northants residents. So yeah, that's my
You've
top
done well.
4.
You've done well. I was semi kind of expecting a Jennings or a Bahanan or a Lees or someone like that, but I think you've done well. I do think you've done genuinely well. I think based on this season, it's hard to argue against Kashi Valley and Karen Nair. Hard to argue against Karen Nair, full stop. But Kashi Valley, I think you could come up with an argument and go, you know what, I'd go Josh Bahanan or someone like that instead. But they're good. I've gone with Rory Burns at the top, England past. I've gone for Tom Haynes at Sussex to open with him, potentially England future. Both scored hundreds so far this season. Tom Haynes, I think, had a little bit of a dip last year with form, but I think people genuinely will still talk about him with regards to kind of an England opportunity if that were to arise. Number 3, I've stayed on the South Coast and I've gone for Cheteshwar Pujara. Because, I mean, that bloke just scores runs, doesn't he? I know he's only turned up like 2 weeks into the season and he ran himself out for about 80, but the guy's dynamite. And then the big controversial move over the winter from Essex to Surrey, I've gone for Dan Lawrence at number 4. He's scored a hatful of runs already. I think he might be like in the top 5 leading wicket takers for the season in Div 1, maybe a little bit lower. And I'm quite happy with my top 4. And I already think I'm beating your team.
That would come as no surprise to me either. That's pretty solid. I really like the pick of Tom Haynes, actually. From what I saw of him in the game against Northants a couple of weeks ago, I was impressed. And yeah, Dan Lawrence, he's been right on the money, hasn't he? Straight away. Yeah, that's solid. That is very solid. Okay, so onto my middle order. Again, I've got a couple of batters originating from the same county, so I know that they'll just work together really well. They bat at a good lick. It will be entertaining when these two are batting together at the crease. So we've gone for number 5, David Bellingham.
Oh, it's a great shout.
He scored some quick fire runs last week, which was super exciting. And then I've gone with the bloke who goes behind the stumps for Durham as well, Ollie Robinson. He's a little pocket rocket, I reckon. Past 50 in all 4 of his innings so far this year, averaging 78. And he's very handy with the gloves. So there's my couple of middle order batters. And then I guess there is a little bit of bias in my 11 towards the all-rounder. So my batting lineup, like these guys are handy with the bat down the lower order. So my 7-8, I've gone number 7, Ben Mike of Leicestershire.
Like that shout.
He's of that kind of mould of player that really excites me. I feel like he has the potential to bowl quick, and we'll probably see a bit more of that over the summer. And he can hit a long ball. Notably, first game of the season when he scored 90 and took a forfeit against Yorkshire, who he obviously made the move back to Leicestershire from.
That one might have been worth just a little bit more, I think. But again, I agree with you. I think it's a great shout at number 7.
Just a solid all-rounder. And then my number 8, I've actually gone for another Worcestershire player in Nathan Smith.
Good shout.
The Kiwi opening bowler, but can also whack it. He's like joint leading wicket taker in Division 2
Div
at
1,
the moment,
Joey,
averaging under
Div
20.
1, Worcester are Div 1.
Div 1,
Jeez,
oh yeah, my bad.
Don't sell the pears short.
Well, I mean, I think it's because I'd already written them off when we did our preview at the start of the year. They're just exceeding my expectations. And he's averaging 50 off the bat. So, yeah. Nathan Smith.
That's a good.
And he's got a couple of run-outs as well.
It's a good engine room.
Which is,
it's a good engine room. You've got like and this is meant in the nicest way possible, but you've got like a real sleeper of an overseas there in Nathan Smith. Like people will have slept on Nathan Smith when he got announced as an overseas signing for Worcester, and he's turned up and he's absolutely hosed it, and that's so good to see. I feel like I might have pipped you slightly with my middle. And number five, I've gone for Ryan Higgins. I mean, if that guy there isn't your absolute blueprint of the perfect county cricketer, I don't know what is. Like, scores runs, scored 250 against Glamorgan first game of the season. Bowls that perfect kind of Duke's cloudy day pace and just nips it around all over the place. So Ryan Higgins at 5. Number 6, a bit of a newcomer on the block, but obviously had to get another Surrey player in there. So I've gone for Cam Steele. Bit of leg spin, whacks it as well. what's not to love? 17 wickets, I think, so far in the championship this year. Even took wickets with a Kookaburra, which, I mean, that's no mean feat, is it? Number 7, and this one you might kind of throw back in my face, but I'm still not convinced that England have fully decided who's going to be their wicketkeeper for 2024 at home. So therefore, I'm sticking at the Oval, and I'm going to go for Ben Foakes at 7, because I think genuinely there's a world that Ben Foakes doesn't play Test cricket this year and Johnny Bairstow does. And he just scores runs for fun, doesn't he? And I mean, he's going to play at the Oval half the time, and that's flat as absolute pancakes. And if you can't score runs there, you won't score runs anywhere. And then number 8, fresh off a nice little 95 red last week for Somerset, Craig Overton. He's going to do well. He's just going to extend that batting lineup. He bowls gas. He's good. I think there was a couple of seasons ago he took 60 poles in Div 1. I still think I'm winning, Joe.
Yeah, that is pretty solid. Do you know what? I'm a little bit surprised on the Ben Foakes. I thought he might have gone a little bit roguer, and gone for his Surrey teammate Jamie Smith.
Potential. There was thought. James Rue was another option. Was another really, really good shout.
He's been a bit of a slow starter at the beginning of the season, but I'm sure he'll pick up where he left off at the back end of last year. I mean, yeah, it's just Southern talent all over.
There's
the
options
show,
down south, Joe.
There certainly is. Now number 9, right? This was a bit of a tricky one for me. There were a few people that threw their hat in the ring when I was looking around the performers in the North group. But I've actually gone with a guy that's only played one game so far this year, and that was last week.
That's fine.
And he's been on the England Lions radar a little bit in times gone by. He's in his 30s now, but I've gone with Paul Coughlin of Durham again. He took 7 for 87 last week in their win against Worcester. And I think if he's coming in at number 9, this batting lineup it's just a lovely extension because he can hit them as well. So yeah, I was debating about that spot in the team for a while, but I've gone with another seamer, seeing as we're in England. And then number 10, again, another seamer. So a little bit of a lack of diversity in my attack, but Ben Code of Yorkshire. He had a good year last year, and he started pretty well as well. This guy's joint leading wicket taker in Division 2, because Yorkshire are in Division 2. He's taken 13 wickets at just a notch under 18. And I quite enjoy watching Ben Code bowl. Pretty accurate, there or thereabouts all the time. He'll be opening the bowling. And then to round out my 11, I needed a spinner, didn't I? I needed a spinner. And I just couldn't look past Nathan Lyon, unfortunately, knowing that you were going to have some batters that are absolutely stacked from the likes of Surrey, and you've thrown in Pujara. I need a world-class spinner that's gonna challenge those batters. So I've gone with Nathan Lyon.
I'll tell you what as well, if you've got the umpire that umpired Sussex versus Gloucestershire as well, there's a great chance that Nathan Lyon would pick up a 10 for. All you have to do is let go of it and the finger goes up, but moving on.
Yeah. For anyone that didn't see that footage, I suggest you make your way towards the County Championship Instagram page and check that one out. That's my 11.
Great. That is superb. Do you know what? I think it's really nicely rounded out with Nathan Lyon. I still think I'm beating you, though.
A little bit of Aussie twang.
Was Nathan Lyon's selection kind of swayed by the fact that you kind of found his kit bag in the Lancs dressing room the other day as well?
Yeah, that might have had a bit of recency bias when I was picking my team. Seeing his kit bag there, his name on the locker, all sorts, you know. It was, yeah, he was probably in my head, wasn't he? Let's be honest.
It's a good shout. Do you know what as well? My 9, 10, and 11, I think are good. I do think they're very good. And I've chosen not to go for people like Jamie Porter. Kemar Roach didn't make the 11. Kyle Abbott didn't make the 11. Who else would have been kicking about? Jaden Seals didn't make the 11. Who else would be kicking about? There's several that I can't think of right now. But for those big boys, they didn't make it. Simon Harmer did. He made the 11. He's at number 9. Seems like a very, very sensible pick, doesn't it, really? Sam Cook made the 11 at number 10. And the other thing as well, like if you manage to pick up a quick one early, like at the end of day's play, I'm sending Sam Cook in. I mean, he's banking like night watcher 50s left, right, and center at the moment. And then finally, just to round out my team, I obviously had to go for the great Mohamed Abbas at number 11. He's obviously at number 11 because he can't hold a cricket bat to save his life, but he can bowl, Mohamed Abbas, and that's my 11. That's South United CC.
That scares me a little bit.
Kind of terrifying, isn't it?
Yeah. The thing about the North is they've got a bit of fight in them.
I don't argue with that.
They're going to be warriors on the pitch. They might give you a bit of chat because they need to try and get a little edge over. Because I reckon going into the game, you would probably be favourites. So they've got to get a little edge somehow. But I'm motivating them and firing
with gravy and what? Exactly.
And gravy.
Exactly. Well, I mean, you'd like that because you're northern as well.
Oh,
I mean, you're born further south than I was, but that's completely beside the point. That's completely beside the point. Do you know what? I think you've done a genuinely good job with the North, and fair play to you for taking that on, because I think it was the hardest shout. Like I'm just looking at some of the numbers here of some of these other people that I haven't even spoken about. Like Shane Snater, 13 wickets. Liam Dawson, we know how good he is. Casey Aldridge is having the start of the season to his life. Matt Parkinson's moved down to Kent and he's taken poles. Matt Critchley, didn't even think about Matt Critchley. And I mean, he's quite good at cricket, isn't he? Dan Worrell taking big poles at Surrey as well. I kind of feel like in a handicapped world, it probably would be considerably closer between the two of us, but that's not how cricket works. So tough. I think I've won. But if you've watched this and you've got all the way to the end of it and you would like to kind of cast a vote as to who you think who has actually won, drop us a comment and let us know, because that would be nice. It would be helpful.